Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and four-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way.
So one of the things that I love most about doing this podcast is getting to know the coolest people on the planet as guests. And I'm lucky I've met a ton of them over the years in green rooms, at TV stations, backstage at events, and, just around. But one I never met before, which was crazy because we are just rotating in the exact same circles, is Keri Glassman. And we got connected. I'm not even quite sure how, and it decided that she was going to come on my podcast. Now, this has taken months to organize. And finally, what you're going to hear today is two people who should have met years ago getting to hang out together. So super fun, where we share ideas, kind of go back to where it all started, all the different nutrition fads, all of that. I'm really excited to share this interview with you. If you don't know who Keri Glassman is, I'm surprised. But if you don't, here's who she is. She's a celebrity nutritionist, a healthy cooking expert, and wellness thought leader. And she is on TV all the time. She's a Today Show tastemaker. She's on Rachel Ray as a nutrition contributor, and she's also on the board for Women's Health magazine. She's authored 4 best-selling books, including The New You and The Improved Diet and The O2 Diet. And she's also on the Today Show, Good Morning America, The Doctor's Dr. Oz. She's all over the place in the media and lives in New York City with her two kids, Rex and Maisie. I love that name, Maisie. So super cute. And she also is the CEO of Nutritious Life and the Nutritious Life Studio, where she trains people on how to get a successful career in the health and wellness industry. So super fun. I mean, we were both like, how have we never met each other before? So I'm excited to share this interview with you. She's got a great gift for everybody at jjvirgin.com/nutritious life. And before I dive in, I want to do a shout out to Vicky Boo 25, who said, love the Ty Bollinger interview, 5 stars. I started listening to your podcast a while back and love the guests you have on, but today's interview with Ty Bollinger has got to be my favorite. Anytime we're talking cancer prevention and cures, I'm all in. She said cures, just so you know, I didn't say cures. Thanks so much for the great info. And you are welcome. And that's what I really strive to do on these podcasts, is just keep the amazing information going by just bringing on super cool people like today's guest, Keri. Now, before we dive in, I want to share another favorite with you. Keri Glassman, welcome to the show. I cannot believe I don't know you already.
I know, it's crazy. I cannot believe after all this time of knowing you for so long, and I'm sure we have a million mutual friends, I cannot believe that we have not met in person before. It's crazy.
I know. Or at all, ever talked.
Exactly, or that we haven't chatted at all. I know,
like
it's really
email,
crazy.
Direct message, nothing,
I know,
not
it's
a
so
zip.
Crazy. Well, I'm so happy to be chatting with you now.
Yes. Well, I've heard of you, you've heard of me, and now it'll be fun to see, where we kind of coalesce, where we may not. It's kind of fun. So let's dive into all of that and see, I'd love to know really, well, let's start from the beginning. How the heck did you get into all of the nutrition and health? How'd you get here?
Okay. So whenever people ask me that question, I'm always like, do I go way, way back or just way back?
Are we talking like 5 years old or
exactly. Well, so since we are starting at square one, I will start at square one for your audience as well. So I always say, I was born to do this. I was born to be in health and wellness. I was an athlete my whole life. I played mean, I grew up being a gymnast and a swimmer and a runner. And then I played soccer and lacrosse in high school and then in college. So I was always athletic and I was always moving my body. So the fitness side was always there. And then I was always interested in how food fueled the body. And I always tell this story, but when I was in seventh, it's true. So that's why I always tell it, because I think it says a lot. In seventh grade, my friend will always say how she remembers me saying in science class that I needed some almonds because my body must need vitamin E, since I was craving almonds. And I always, it's funny because I say, I'm like, there is
He's
no
looking at you like a
way.
freak.
Exactly. And by the way, there's no way I knew what vitamin E did. And there is no way, like, I actually had any clue what I was probably saying, but I must have read it somewhere. And it just, to me, it just shows, like, and again, as being a mom, I sometimes think, like, when my kids, like, give, like, little bits of things they show interest in, I like to write it down just to almost like remind them of the things they naturally gravitated towards when they were younger. So anyway, I think I had a natural gravitation towards wellness and nutrition and how the body was fueled and how food fueled the body, and et cetera, et cetera. And then so fast.
Okay, we're so aligned there. Like, that was me when I was in junior high. I was like obsessed with food and studying nutrition, going to the health food store and not eating what my mother would put on the table, which was covered with like dressing and sauces and white bread and garbage.
Right.
So I'm right there with
Right.
you.
And you were so funny with that you're saying that about like what your mom had. So my mom always like cooked great dinners, and it was always, that we started with a grapefruit, and then we had a salad and a vegetable and a protein and a starch. It was a very balanced meal, but definitely not always healthy. And then aside from the actual meal.
Wait, you always started with a
I
grapefruit?
know, isn't that funny? Yeah.
So did she think that was going to like...
Do you want it so funny? I know whenever I say that, it's like, it sounds
like the early grapefruit diet?
Well,
what was going on
that,
there,
or I
Keri?
feel like it sounds like very fancy. like we had the grapefruit course. It was not that fancy.
I'm from LA, it's like, so that's like the grapefruit diet.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom served that because it was supposed to neutralize the lasagna coming next.
It was not that at all. It was it was not that at all. And it wasn't the grapefruit diet, and it wasn't fancy. It honestly was because she grew up with her mom doing that. And her mom just did that for whatever reason. It was just part of a traditional meal. I don't know where it originated from, but her mom did that. But I will tell you what's funny about it. We used to sprinkle sugar on the top, like loads of sugar on the top. So there was nothing healthy about it. But anyway, so she gave these like great balanced meals, but we also had cabinets filled with what I always say is like fluorescent orange food, like the Doritos and the Cheetos and the whatever. So we had, there was a lot of healthy food around, but there was also a lot of junk around. So that's how I grew up as well. And with an interest though in nutrition. And so fast forward.
And Keri, my nickname growing up was Poppy because of all the Pop-Tarts I ate.
Oh my God, wait, that's hysterical. Wait, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well,
okay, we're so bonding right now, I swear.
That's so funny. I love it. No, I do. I love that's hysterical. So yeah, fast forward to college. I played sports in college. I gained a whole bunch of weight, and I would always think, I'm gaining the freshman. I think it was like the freshman 20 at the time I gained, not the freshman 50.
And what were you doing that was making you gain that freshman 20?
So it was so I was playing sports, but as you know, I mean, you can exercise for 3 hours and eat a piece of cheesecake, and those 3 hours don't really mean much, right? As far as gaining weight goes.
Right.
I mean, for your health, they mean something, but not as far as, gaining weight. So what I would say I ended up doing was the bowls. This was like the fat-free time. So I would go.
Oh yeah.
I'd go.
Yeah, that worked really well.
Exactly.
Didn't it?
Yeah. The whole world became obese pretty much when we started doing that.
That was so good.
No, that was really, we could talk about that forever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
When you really look back at the research that had come out and how they actually
manipulated it. It was so crazy.
It is so insane. I think
it did so much damage. It's unbelievable. It's damage still that we'll be paying back for years.
I mean, years, decades and decades. It's so horrific when you really think about that, and how they had and they knew their information was wrong. Anyway, we digress.
Yes.
But so what was I doing? I would get bags of candy, like Swedish Fish, and go.
Oh, because they were fat free. So yeah, Swedish Fish and all that ridiculous fat-free garbage that we were living on, like Froyo.
I know. Froyo,
Froyo.
Swedish fish, yogurt covered pretzels. Oh, the junk in
Popcorn.
those. Exactly. But I used to go and grab, there was this, a little, the little store, the campus store, and I would get a thing of, there's all the bulk candy. I would get a bag of Swedish fish and a bag of yogurt covered pretzels and go to study for 3
I was going to
hours.
say, and go to town.
Yeah, exactly. Go to town, exactly. Or go to actually sit in the library and probably just talk with friends and eat and pretend that I needed the fuel to study, right?
Oh,
Which
yes,
is like
because
the
you needed
worst.
brain fuel. You got to
Exactly,
have
the
brain
worst
fuel.
brain fuel in the world. So yeah, that's the junk that I think it was a lot of that. And then a lot of, dinners of just, going to the dining hall and eating those. Do you remember those big, big, huge bowls that they would have in campus cafeterias, and you'd fill it with either salad with like 10 types of cheese and dressing, or you would fill it with cereal, which was probably equivalent to like 5 cups of cereal.
Yeah, the Cracklin brand.
Oh my God, yes! Wait, those
non-fat milk.
square, they were squares with the holes in them, right?
The Cracklin, gosh, remember, it was a little round thing.
Yes, with a hole through it.
Oh, yes, those.
And we were like, oh, it's healthy cereal, right? With the fat-free milk. And I probably would eat, right, like 1,500 calories worth at one time. It was just pure processed junk. Oh my God. Okay. So yes, we are speaking the same language. So you understand how I gained in college. But at the time, again, I was like so confused about it because I thought, well, but wait, I'm the athlete. How come my friends that are doing all kinds of unhealthy things like drinking diet soda all day long? I drank a little bit of it then, but not even so much, but also not really eating that much, being unhealthy, drinking a whole lot and doing whatever other unhealthy things they were doing. How come they're the ones that, aren't gaining as much weight? I felt like I was the one that, gained the most, and I was supposed to be the athlete. And I know my body isn't meant to be, 20 pounds heavier than it should have been then, or should be now. And so I really became just really, really interested in how can I fuel my body to perform on the athletic field and still feel good putting on my, skinny jeans on a Saturday night, because I felt like it wasn't about being skinny. It was about being fit and strong and healthy. And I just knew whatever I was doing was not right. And there was something wrong. And I also just really gained this interest in how everything worked together. As far as when I ate well, I did perform better on the athletic field. I studied better, and then I slept better. And when I slept better, I obviously had more energy to then perform better on the athletic field and study better and just feel happier. So I always had this interest in how all these different areas of wellness work together.
And so did you study that in college? Was that your field?
So I didn't. I actually studied political science. And
I was a theater and then an English major.
Right.
So I'm right there with you.
And you want to know the funniest thing was that I was really afraid of taking nutrition because I thought I'd heard it was so hard, and I didn't think of myself as a science person. So I didn't take it, even though I was at Tufts, which had this amazing nutrition program.
Oh my gosh.
Right? What a shame. So I didn't.
Wow.
And then when I started working at Sports Illustrated when I graduated, and I had, an interest. I wanted to do something in the sports world. I had an interest there. And so I got a job at Sports Illustrated, and that was a time when we used to get all of all these magazines for free. And whenever Health Magazine came around, when it came out each month, I would sit there at my desk and obsessively read every single word. And so that's when I was really like, wow, I should really be doing something in this area if I'm this excited and interested in it. So I took Nutrition 1. And then, as they say, the rest is sort of history as far as my getting into it, really getting into it. Obviously, building a business is a whole other thing. But as far as, diving in and going back to school for nutrition, I eventually, from that one class, I eventually then went and got my master's of science in nutrition and then became a registered dietitian. But that's how I really ended up diving in. It was just that passion for health and wellness just kept creeping in. And then I finally listened.
Well, you look at it's so funny because if you look at what we've gone through over decades, and you look at all the crazy ideas that have been brought forth, and I feel like we're almost sort of kind of getting to a sane place right now hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's come I think the whole wellness world and health and nutrition and diet and exercise world has definitely come very far, at least from when you and I both got involved.
Yes. So if someone's going to categorize like where you're at right now, when you're going to tell people, okay, what does it mean? Because your whole program and company is called Nutritious Life. Like what would that mean to you? What are the components?
So Nutritious Life is all about, as I mentioned in college, as I was saying that, even then I had this taste for living a life that was not just diet and exercise, but it was also sleeping well. And, when you slept well, you ate better. And so it's really evolved over the years. And I've taken a look at the science and the research behind these different pillars of a nutritious life, but also just anecdotal evidence and, working with clients, thousands of clients over the years. So living a nutritious life really involves these 8 different pillars, from eating empowered to stressing less, to drinking up, which obviously is the water component, loving more, which is the loving and not just loving, like healthy relationships of all kinds, like taking a look at all these different 8 pillars. So I look at all of these different 8 pillars. Live consciously is another pillar, which is, living green and trying to do better for the environment, but also your environment. We know that when your desk area is organized, when your closet is organized, you reduce stress, you feel calmer. There's it affects different people to different degrees, but all of those things really work together from a physiological standpoint and a behavioral standpoint. And I know you understand this, like when you sleep well, I'll just give this one example. When you sleep well, and you wake up in the morning, your hunger hormones are in a better place than, let's say, if you slept terribly or you haven't slept at all. So now that's, the physiological component. And then from the behavioral standpoint, when you sleep terrible and you're not as motivated, right? So then you end up doing something quick, maybe going and picking up that muffin versus feeling great and being motivated to go and have that, omelet with spinach and tomatoes in it, right? So I educate people on how all of these different pillars work together to help people live a nutritious life. So living a nutritious life, as I like to help people do, is all about incorporating what I call these 8 different pillars. So, and you don't have to be doing every one of these pillars perfectly all the time, but it's being able to it's taking a look at these 8 pillars, seeing how they fit into your life best to maximize each of them to live your happiest and healthiest life. So I'll tell you the pillars: eat empowered, sleep deep, drink up, nurture yourself, live consciously, sweat often, love more, and stress less. So what I always talk about living a nutritious life is all about, looking at all of those, how they affect each other from a physiological standpoint and a behavioral standpoint. So I know you'll understand this when I talk about it. Like, when you sleep well, you wake up in the morning, your hormones are in a better place, right? So you're going to crave healthier foods versus when you sleep terribly. So that's the physiological component.
Oh, you're like sleep for me. If I was going to pick one thing, this is, and I still remember, and this is always so awkward when you're on a TV show and the host says something and you completely disagree with it. And you're like, now what do I do? And I was sitting on Dr. Phil when we were doing weight loss challenges, and they had a gal come up and they were celebrating the fact she got up at 4 a.m. to work out every day for 3 hours.
Oh,
And I thought, well, there's a lot of things wrong with this.
a lot of things. Yeah.
There's so many things: too much exercise,
Yep.
getting 6 hours of sleep a night, all these problems. And I'm sitting there going, what do I do now? Like,
Right.
how do I like, you don't go, hey, listen, Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
So, and what's so crazy about it? I got like hate mail from people going, I can't believe, and I go, I didn't tell her to do that. Like,
Exactly. You're like, I'm not promoting that. I'm so with you. It's so funny. When I used to see clients, I would tell them, they would push themselves to, let's say, work out in the morning and get that workout in. And I always said, stop.
Do a double.
Yeah, right,
like,
exactly. And I would say,
like,
you know what? Like, stop setting the alarm and then and then pressing snooze 5 times and ending up not working out and not getting good sleep. Just decide 2 of those mornings, you're not going to go and do the workout. Set the alarm 45 minutes or an hour later, get some more good quality sleep. And that's so much better. That's so much more important for you than getting in those extra couple workouts. And half the time they don't even get the workouts in because they're tired and would sleep through the, keep pressing snooze. So I completely agree with you. I would not be recommending that, but that is a tough situation. I have been in that similar situation before when you're like, no, I'm not going to completely disagree with you on your own show, but oh no, I hope everyone knows I don't agree with that.
I'm sitting in the audience, like shaking my head. No, don't do that. So yeah, sleep is such a key one. And I love what you're bringing up is that these things all go together. Like if you're not sleeping well, you're going to be hungrier. You're not hungrier for salmon. Let's be honest. And then it just starts the whole downward spiral. Then you don't have the energy to work out. Then you're eating more sugar. Then you're more tired, but you can't sleep because you're wired. So then you don't sleep well.
Right.
It's like,
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And those are all the physiological components. And then there's all the behavioral and the mental components as well that kick in. I mean, when you don't sleep well, you feel you're not motivated. You don't have energy and you're not motivated to make yourself eggs and spinach in the morning. You're saying, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go and pick up that muffin on my way to work. Like you're not motivated. You don't have that energy to even make the right choices, and your hormones are actually in a place where you're craving the worst types of foods. So yeah, it is a vicious cycle. That could be a downward spiral, and it can also be an upward spiral in a good way when you do something like get a great night's sleep and feel great in the morning and drink that water and hydrate yourself properly. All of those things can also set off a great cycle. And that's really what I try to get people to do. And I always say, if one thing is completely out of control, like let's say you just for whatever reason for 2 months, you can't exercise. That doesn't mean everything else, falls to the wayside. Everything else, you can still keep things in order. You can still drink your water. You can still focus on sleep. So I think, it really goes, what I talk about with Nutritious Life also really goes against, an all or nothing type of an attitude, which I know that I'm sure, are not for as well.
Well, it's such an important point because there are going to be times in our life when we can't work out or when we're under more stress, or we're traveling and we don't have like all the food that we normally want to eat. So it doesn't mean like, hey, it's a free for all, When I look at those things, it really comes down to now your margin of error is tighter. So if you can't get the workout in, you're going to make sure that you're really eating on point and getting your sleep and doing everything else. So I love that you said that because I did a query to my list about fitness and they're like, oh, I fell off the wagon because I, got sick or I got injured. And it was like everything went sideways.
And I don't know where that even came to be in our diet culture of this on and off and starting and stopping.
I was good today. I was bad. I was like, it's like,
and it is such an important thing that we all break. We need to break that cycle of on and off and starting and stopping. It's like your body doesn't know that it's Monday morning at 8 a.m. Do you know what I mean?
But yet no one starts a diet on, Friday afternoon.
Exactly.
Never once.
Which is why I also say another thing I always say is, every meal is an opportunity to eat well. Every meal is a Monday morning, which when you can get into that mindset as well of, taking every meal as an individual opportunity, that does help. I believe I've seen it help clients really break that cycle of the all or nothing, starting again in the morning attitude. But I really do think also, for some people, like saying, you know what, don't even focus on the food for a moment. Don't even worry. Don't stress yourself out with the food if that's really overwhelming. Focus on getting in your water every day and, getting rid of diet soda, getting rid of whatever junk you add in your coffee, and focus on drinking a lot, your water every day and hydrate, and focusing on sleep and maybe doing a meditation. Sometimes when you focus on these other pillars and you start to feel good in these other areas, all of a sudden the eating well just falls into place because you already feel so good. You want to do these other things. You want to then eat your greens.
And I would love it since you just kind of skimmed through it, the diet soda rant.
Oh my goodness. Diet soda. There are very few things that I say you should absolutely never consume again. Diet soda is one of them. There is no reason to.
It shouldn't even be. It shouldn't be allowed.
Absolutely.
Like you wouldn't drink battery acid.
It is all 100% chemicals with zero nutritional value. And the other thing is, it has also been shown to be worse for you than even soda. It actually, people think they're doing something good having it, that they're they're not at least maybe they're not having their sugar, but it's actually worse for you. I don't remember the exact study right now, but I know there has been studies that shown that people that drink diet soda have higher blood pressure. People that drink diet soda are more.
Yep.
Yep,
Inch bigger waist
exactly.
circumference,
They're
a 33% more chance of
Yeah, so good. I'm so
diabetes,
glad you got the
like
stats right there
crazy
for me.
stuff.
I love it. Yeah, but that's what I was going to next, is that they're actually way more than people that don't drink diet soda. So you're not the people that are drinking it thinking they're doing something good for their diet, and they know it's unhealthy, but I want to, eat low calorie or drink low calorie. Well, it's not going to do anything good for you there either. So there is absolutely no reason to have it. Really, one of the absolute worst foods you can consume. And on that note, I will go a step further. One of the other things I also say that people should never, ever, ever have, there's no reason for it, is artificial sweeteners, except for there is, I believe, a little time and place for good quality, pure stevia is probably the only non-nutritive sweetener, I should say, that.
And let's talk about that, because that is not, because I get people there like, well, they act like stevia is an artificial sweetener. Like, it's not an artificial sweetener. So we can like put the
Yep.
artificial sweeteners over there and agree they were like the worst science experiment
Mm-hmm.
that didn't work. Like, and they got tested on us. Like, it's like ridiculous. And then you've got real sugar. And by the way, because I was here, but honey is all natural. I'm like, uh-huh. And then you have sugar, and then you have these things in between,
Yep.
these herbal types of things. You've got stevia and monk fruit and some other stuff. And none of them can be lumped into the other one.
Absolutely
They're all
agree
different.
with you. Absolutely agree with you. And they all, let's just say the artificial sweeteners, as you just said, bad science experiment, gone wrong. Let's get rid of all of them forever. Done. Goodbye if we can. Right? And then sugar, we know, like, there's going to be a little bit of sugar in our diets, even in a very, even in a healthy diet. I believe there is a place for a conscious indulgence of a little bit of sugar. There is a place in a diet for fruit, where you're getting vitamins and minerals, and you have sugar in your diet, which is obviously natural sugar, which is different even than plain added sugar. It's another category. And there is a place in your diet for a little bit of that. I don't really believe you need to have any added sugar. You don't need to have any of it. There's a place for fruit, of course, but there is, at least to me, a place for an indulgence when you know how to have an indulgence, when you know how to have a.
Well, if we do not put indulgences in, then we get binge.
Exactly. 100%.
Right?
If I ever try to completely take away any kind of sweets altogether, all I will want to do is completely overdo it. And I know that's just obviously me. Not everybody's like that. I'm just giving my personal example there. But
I think most people are. Like, no, I think most people, if you say you can never have this again, like no, so that's why if you look at things and go, all right, you're going to figure out if something works for you. If you eat something, if you like eat gluten and it hurts you,
exactly,
like, don't eat that. But it's like we just celebrated my son's birthdays, both of them, my birthday, my buddy Mike's birthday, Easter and Mother's Day. We just did and Passover. We mashed the whole thing up.
I love that. The holiday mashup.
And it just was. I was like, we did everything. And we got and it was really honestly kind of ridiculous. We got we couldn't decide. So we got a salted vanilla caramel gluten-free layer cake and a salted chocolate almond butter. Like it was really ridiculous. And magic bars and chocolate paleo brownie. I mean, just so much stuff, which actually we all looked at and had like a couple bites and we're like, ugh. But that's what we had. We had a couple bites.
Like, right. Okay. And if you never, ever had it, you probably would have eaten it all and felt sick and terrible because the second you had a bite.
Or if I could never have it again, if it's like I'm never allowed to have that again, I'd be like, okay, I'm eating all of that. But since it was around, it's fine.
And you know how to make it a conscious. I always say there's like a conscious indulgence. You're aware, you're indulging in a nice, fun way. It's healthy. It's a healthy mindset. It's mentally healthy to be able to do that on those fun occasions. That's when you should have an indulgence, is on a happy occasion. Not, I always say it's those types of indulgences, like whether it's that magic bar, which by the way, you mentioned that. And I was like, that sounds good right now. That's my favorite.
Magic bar.
But whether it's a magic bar or a chocolate chip cookie or whatever it might be, that's where you should have your added sugar. You shouldn't have it in your salad dressing, in your bread, in your all these other places snuck into your day, in your yogurt. You shouldn't have it in all these other places that you don't even think of as being sweet. So all of a sudden you go to have that cookie and you've already actually had 7 indulgences that day of added sugar that you didn't even realize you had. Exactly.
Yeah, that snuck in that you're like going,
Yeah.
"No, no, no, I had a salad. It's all fine. It's all good. I had a salad and I had
Right.
some
I had a
marinara
salad
sauce," and
with
then you're like going,
sugar-coated cranberries, sugar-coated pecans, dressing with sugar in it. I mean,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a very big difference between a salad and a
Ugh,
salad.
yeah, and 30 calories of
Yeah.
lettuce and, and the rest was like a sundae. Yeah, garbage. Okay, final thing, because I know you're gonna, like, get kicked out of where you are again. I'm just watching going, "And we're out." Um, so where do you land? And I have no idea what you're about to say here. So now
Ooh,
we'll
I'm so
see if
excited.
like where this goes. Vegan, paleo, keto, vegetarian, breatharian, fruitarian. But like, what's your thought on all the specific diets? Where do you
I would
land?
say an allitarian. I've actually never said that before, but I'm just as you're asking me that question, I'm thinking this is a good one. No, so I would say truthfully that is truthfully. I don't aside from like I was just saying the artificial sweeteners. Aside from that, there is almost no food that I would never eat. Aside from again diet sodas, fluorescent orange foods loaded with loaded with those types of chemicals, and highly processed chemical laden foods. Aside from that, there's almost no food that I would never eat. But my day to day diet is vegan meets paleo, which I know that people have been saying,
It's
yeah,
the
somewhat. I
Mark
mean, I would
Hyman
say
Pegan
my
diet.
version of that
Uh-huh.
with, so loads of
Uh-huh.
vegetables, loads and loads of vegetables, loads of healthy fats like avocado and healthy oils and, nuts and seeds. And then a little bit of fruit. I don't have lots of fruit, but a little bit of fruit and high quality protein. And I say that high quality protein could be grass fed beef, or it could be, another day it could be legumes in my salad. And then the next night it might be grass fed beef. So combination of different protein sources. Obviously also I get protein from nuts and seeds and vegetables even too, but mostly, like I just said, vegetables, healthy fats, high quality protein, plant and animal, and a little bit of fruit and, a little bit of whole grains mixed in there. And what do I feel like I'm just missing something? And I do a little bit of day. I do, yeah. Then I also have I was just mentioning. I think I mentioned it before, but high quality dairy as well. So like I would have, especially I like this grass fed yogurt that I get from a farm nearby, and yeah, I'd say that's my diet. Where do you fall
All
there?
right. So um I think that we need to have two words. I think we need to have a word that is like we use diet for all this, but I see diets as something
Yeah,
that you use short term therapeutically to either learn something about yourself, like if you're food intolerant to something, or how many carbs you feel best eating, or to help get in a result, like get your blood sugar balanced. And then I think there is the way you eat. And that's the word I'm trying to come up with, the way you eat. Because we
right.
use diet interchangeably for both those things. And honestly, if you used diets correctly, you would use them and go, okay, wow, I just went totally vegan. And you know what? I feel better when I incorporate in a little bit of fish and, maybe some, I don't know, some grass-fed beef. Or I went totally paleo, but I feel better when I eat a little less animal protein and more legumes. And so you start to learn what feels best for you at the time, because this is going to depend on your genetics and your epigenetics and your lifestyle and your likes and dislikes and your health status and your goals, right? And so these things shift and we look at it and go, okay, you're going to be
Right.
vegan forever. I'm like, well, this is silly. Maybe you're going to do vegan for a couple of weeks because you want to get used to eating more plants. And this is a good way to kind of incorporate it in and move it over and get your gut microbiome shifting. And then you're going to go, stabilize that out so that you've gone, I
Yeah.
really am getting 5 to 10 servings of vegetables in a day, and then move to the next thing. But I really, in the perfect world, we'd be cycling, we'd eat seasonal,
Absolutely.
local, and organic, right? And I think that honestly, the most important thing that we are struggling with is not this it's not the stupid vegan, paleo, keto, all those
Yes.
wars. It's the fact that we have crappy
Yes.
food quality. And if all we did was start to improve our food quality, like, it would change the world if everybody
Yeah.
just would get a good night's sleep, drink more water, eat more veggies, be kind to each other, hug some, move some, like, and take a good multivitamin, mineral, antioxidant, and fish oil supplement. Life changes. That's it. you know.
Right. Well, I totally agree with you. Yeah, because I was telling you with my diet there, I was saying like what I personally do there, but in terms of recommending to other people, I recommend starting exactly very similar to what you were saying.
Yeah, I
Like,
figured
get rid of
we're
all
really
the
simpatico. It's like I figured we would
yeah,
be,
get rid of all the packaged processed foods.
right?
It's so much less important whether or not you're having chickpeas or grass-fed beef, let's say, or it's so much more important that you're eating loads of vegetables, that you're eating high-quality, healthy fats. We have on our website, nutritiouslife.com, I have a section called Diets Decoded. And we go through, everything from paleo to vegan to all kinds of diets and really just critique them and go and give the thumbs up, thumbs down, where we fall with them. But I start that column every single time with all healthy diets, whether it's vegan or paleo, which obviously are on two ends of the spectrum, but healthy versions of healthy diet, the healthiest version of healthy diets, all have mostly are very similar. Get rid of all the packaged processed foods, get rid of as much added sugar as possible, load up on lots of vegetables, load up on healthy fats. So even whether that's vegan or paleo, those are the same attributes to most healthy diets. So again, whether you're somebody that's vegan and has a little bit of, meat every once in a while, call it your own thing. No one's, I always say, no one's grading you. No one's giving you a grade. No one's going to send you to jail because you are vegan and you had something that's not vegan, right? So I am completely with you. You have to really look at what works for you best. And everybody has their
And
own
it changes,
needs.
and
And
it
it
changes.
changes.
Like, what works for you at 20 is not the same as 50. And, things shift, and it may be different from, I went through a seriously traumatic, stressful experience. Things shifted. So, you go through menopause, things shift. Like, so stuff shifts. So that's what we just have to get better at connecting the dots of not trying to get, because someone else told us this is exactly how we should eat. It doesn't feel good to us to like
Yeah.
second, it's to judge ourselves and second guess ourselves. So, you know,
But I like your idea of coming up with a new
right?
word because what I usually say is I say diet, like the noun, and diet, the verb. Are you dieting? Or I say, but we all have a diet. So when I describe that, I'm not on a diet. That was my diet. You have a diet. Everybody has
I
a
know
diet.
this is why it's so confusing. It's like,
Exactly. We need to just change it. So we don't have to do the whole noun verb thing and we can just like a new word. I totally agree with you there.
yeah.
So
So if you think of it, let me know. All right.
I
Like,
love that.
I'm working on it. You work on it. We need to come up with it. It will be amazing. And I'm super excited to meet you in person. So this is for all of you listening. You've been kind of like, we pulled back the kimono of us getting to know each other. We just decided to do it on a podcast.
I love it.
And because it's like ridiculous. We've never met, but we will meet in person
I
soon.
know.
I
I
just
can't
feel
wait.
it.
It's gonna be so much fun. We will
Yes,
talk
it's going
all
to
this.
happen. It will be.
We will. And by the way, this conversation will probably go for 3 hours. We need to book a long time. When we
Yes.
need.
Absolutely. We'll hang out. It'll be super fun. Florida or San Diego or New York, it's happening. And I so appreciate your time. So, super fun thing. I know that you've got a great gift for everybody, your perfect cleanse. And so we are going to direct you to that at jjvirgin.com/nutritious life. So be sure to grab that gift from Keri. Thank you so much, Keri. I super appreciate you and your time
Oh, it
today.
was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
So I wanted to underscore something that I think is super important is Keri talked about how everything's connected. Like when you don't sleep well, then you're so tired, then you don't exercise as much, then you make poor diet choices, then you're more, then you do something like have a bunch of sugar, then you're wired, then you don't sleep well. It just becomes like this vicious cycle. And then she also said, we tend to get into a situation where if like we're not working out or we're traveling, we're like, oh, heck, if I can't do one thing, I'm not going to do anything. And I thought that one of the important things that she pointed out that we always need to remember is that in fact is the exact opposite of what you want to do. Let's say that you are injured, you sprained your ankle, and now all of a sudden you can't do your cardio bursting. Well, that does not mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? You could still do resistance training and you make sure that your diet's dialed. So you do all the rest of the stuff. So just because one pillar of your wellness is struggling, it doesn't mean that they all should go out the window. And that's a really important point for all of us to remember. And I think along with that, think about this. You're never going to be able to look at every single thing and go, okay, I know I need to work on my stress. I need to dial on my sleep. I should be exercising more. I can improve the quality of my diet. I need to be drinking more water. I've got to think of some work on more stress management techniques, and I need to see my friends more. Well, if you do that, you're overwhelmed and you'll do nothing. But one by one, if you just start picking these things off and really move them in so you shift the habits in your life, as you up-level those habits, you up-level your life. And again, if one of those things is a struggle at some point, the other ones still stay up-leveled, and then it becomes less of an issue until you can bring it back again. All right. Hope that serves. I want to remind you to grab Keri's free cleanse at jjvirgin.com/nutritious life. And remember to subscribe to the show so you do not miss any goodness. All right. While you're over there too, if you feel up to it, I would love it if you'd leave a review, and then I can give you a shout out on the next show. See you then. Bye.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.